So I decided I will record once again from the scratch installation of the Home Assistant and especially AdGuard Home, because users were complaining about this. There were 2 comments below my video about installation of the Home AdGuard on the Home Assistant as an add-on, of course, and they didn't explain anything. They just wrote that it's hard to follow, or the video is totally something that they cannot agree, or it's a waste of time, or it's something like that, so it was extremely difficult for them to make it work, probably, or I don't know, no explanation. This kind of command is not this kind of comment is not a command for me. It's something that is illogical, because you need to provide a reason, you need to provide an argument. So this pass was easy, but this pass was difficult, and eventually, something like could you explain this and this, or something like that. So I expected, and so for me such comments are actually worthless, just because I cannot, I don't know what to do. I don't know on which part to focus, what to explain, and this is useful, just like that. And please do not post comments like that, but instead try to be a more detailed, to exactly tell me what part is difficult, or what should I explain, something eventually about I made this and this, or I typed this and this and it didn't work. Can you eventually try to figure it out? So this is the way I usually do, and I'm of course a system administrator, so I'm troubleshooting Linux and also Unix systems every day, so not a big deal for me. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the terminal now, and we'll proceed with the Home Assistant installation. This is a fresh installation of the Debian 11, so we can see cat etc auth release, and it's Debian 11. It's a bullseye code name, so we can follow. So what you need to do, first of all, you need to type sudo apt update, but it will not work. Why? Because there is no sudo package. So what you need to do, you need to switch to root, and if you install the system, you know the root password, so I should be able to switch to root. Now I'm root, and apt install sudo, right? And now it should install the sudo package, and I should be able to proceed. So what to do? Okay, the sudo is added. The next step, I need to create a group. It's something I usually do. I don't like to follow all those tutorials in the internet. Some system administrators usually are doing the same what I do. I mean, we do not follow the default settings. I'll explain later a little bit why and how to avoid it. So first of all, group path should work, and let's say we will call it admins. Of course, it's obvious group, but not a problem for me, and you can call this group anything you like it, and it doesn't matter actually how you will call the group. Administrators, admins. Okay, the group is added. What you need to do, you need to check if the user added to this group. It's not. So what you need to do next, user mode, you need to add with user mode command this user to this group. So name of the group and name of the user. Here we go, and Adrian should work, and you can see now at the end the user is added to the admins group. Okay, excellent. This is something that you need to do. Okay, next step, what you have to do is just something like type vsudo, and it will load the etc sudoers file. Vsudo is a tool actually, so thanks to this you can edit information there. And what you need to do is just to add something like this group we already created. You need to add this group to sudoers, right? So how to make it work? What you have to do, all you need to do, you can do something like that, but you can remove the sudo and instead add the sudoers here. So let's say I will remove this and I will add admins instead of sudo, and I will ignore the sudo group here and admins will be sudoers. So this is something I usually do, and that's correct. So Ctrl O to write and Ctrl X to exit, because it's usually the default non-editor. We will change it later. All I do usually is just to apt remove and purge no, yes I want, and instead I will install the Vim editor. So sudo, not a sudo, apt install Vim. Excellent. Do you want to install the Vim editor? Yes, I want, because I usually use the Vim editor instead of Nano. If you want to leave Nano, please do what you want. It's your decision. What is your favorite text editor? Anyway, if I will type vsudo once again, it will open in Vim instead of Nano. Excellent. Okay, so let's go back, Ctrl D or type exit to our user and check is sudo working. Sudo apt update. Will it work? We will try. I think I may. Okay, I mistyped the password. It should work actually. Oh, it's not in the sudoers file. Okay, we will switch to root once again. Okay, type the password for the root. And what do you need to do? Adrian and admins is a group. We should check once again just to be sure admins is correct. Okay, and Q, and we will try system ctl daemon reload. Okay, Ctrl D once again and Ctrl D to log out from this connection. Connect once again to the machine, and we will try now sudo apt update. Here we go, it should work. Excellent, it's working. So it's sudo apt upgrade this time. Nothing to be upgraded, so we can follow next steps. So this is a very basic configuration. Now you should look for my video about detailed SSH configuration with RSA keys. I am explaining them and how to properly configure SSHD, and I also wrote the script that is the bash script that is doing everything for you. So you can take it and you can use it. That's all. Okay, so this is a step that should be performed. So if there will be, for example, some problems, like you will see on the screen that there was some package you were trying to install previously, but it didn't install fully. You can try it, and of course apt will tell you this. But this is the simple command, sudo apt fix broken install. Before you will proceed with installation of anything, first you need to fix all broken installation. Excellent. This is something that is done correctly. So what you need to do, sudo apt install Dns Util, because we will need it. Okay, so Dns Utils will be installed. We need to why we need this tool actually? We need this tool to be able to use dig command to an address. I will explain later, I will present later how to use dig command and why we need it. So the next step is to install necessary tools for the Home Assistant Supervised, because we are going to install Home Assistant Supervised. So let me see, and insert sudo apt install jQuery wget url udis2 libgl network manager dbs AppArmor utilities. Excellent. We are going to install all of this, and after that, by the way, I will provide the URL. I already did it in my previous video, so I provided all the URLs, what to look for, all this information. But this is something that you should read, but it doesn't have to be able to proceed actually. So all of this installing, you can wait a little longer. I can try to speed it up, but I will not, just because during this installation I'll try to explain all the necessary steps. So the next step is to install the Docker. So we are going to install this through the Docker command, because what we need to do, we need to use this URL to get the script and run the script directly from the CLI in our environment. So this is something what is necessary. Then we have to add our Linux user to the Docker group. And what next? You need to also, if you are using a Raspberry Pi, I already explained it, you need to add into boot cmdline.txt file two entries: AppArmor equals 1 space security equals AppArmor. I mean APPRRMOR. It's something that needs to be added to be able to run Raspberry Pi with AppArmor. Without this, Raspberry Pi will not work with the AppArmor utility, and Supervised, the Home Assistant Supervised will not install. Just like that, because it requires AppArmor. Because I'm using a standard PC, actually it's a Esprimo Q920, 8GB of RAM, Intel Core i5 4 cores, and 500 gigabytes on my hard drive. So this is something that I will not proceed, just because it's not a Raspberry Pi, but instead it's a clean Debian with systemd. So this is something I will not do. But I'm going back to Docker. So curl fsl, and you can see get get.docker.com, get docker sh. So we are downloading this file, and I can list this file lsrlh to exactly show you permissions, and you can see what is inside this cat get docker, so we can display all the information, and you can see the script is huge. I mean, not very huge, but a lot of text, so a lot of functions there. So you can read it carefully what it is and how the script is working. I already know, so I'm just proceeding it. So sudo sh, so shell get docker sh. So we are running the script, executing it, and we are waiting for the Docker installation. Excellent. It should proceed with the Docker installation, and you need to wait a little bit, yeah. And patience. This is something that is crucial. This is very crucial when you are doing online. So you need to wait. you need to be sure that everything is proceeding properly. So we are going to wait just like that. You can see it's proceeding, so it's done actually. Everything is installed. So what you need to do now, so as I already mentioned, we have to add our Linux user to a Docker group. So once again, sudo user, you already did it, user mode a-g, right? Docker, this is a group, and your username, in my case it will be Adrian, right? Adrian, just to be sure. You can see admins and Docker at the end is added. Okay, so I already explained this for Raspberry Pi users, computers. Do this. Edit this boot command line text file, and inside this file add those two values, AppArmor1 and security AppArmor. And how it should look like, it should look like this, right? This line should look exactly like this. You should see something like root weight, and after that you can add those two values, and space system unified group, something like that. Okay, so next step, you should reboot the system. So sudo reboot, because we need to be sure that after reboot the server is working correctly and the AppArmor started properly with our system. So I will try reconnect now. I will have to wait a little bit longer probably because the machine is booting up now. This is something crucial. Wait. You can see the show logs if you want. Start over. Once again. It should connect. But you need to be very patient. Okay, it's connected. Excellent. So what to do now? Oh, very simple. Sudo AA-status. And here we go. Type the password for the user, of course. This is the password for the users, and you can see AppArmor is loaded. 7 profiles are loaded in enforce mode. So excellent. What now? Okay, so I recommend use this to be sure which version of the AppArmor you are using. You need to compare the versions. I already, in the previous video about Home Assistant, installation of the Home Assistant, I already provided. So we are going to check all of these. Docker version, excellent. We are going to checking the systemd version. And we are going to check the NMCLI version, Network Manager, because we need to be sure that we have proper installation. Excellent. So all of this is already done. So what you need to do, we need to download the latest Debian package from OS Agent GitHub release page. So I'm doing this. I'm downloading this zip file. Okay, we'll display it. OS agent. So okay, so what to do now? Sudo dpkg, right? -I and name of the OS agent that I'm using tabulator to make it work, right? Just this is something like a bash completion. If you are using a tabulator, it completed for you the name of the file. So Errors were encountered. That is interesting. Once again, sudo dpgk os agent package architecture. Okay, so what I did, this is very interesting. Not a big deal actually. What you need to do, you need to go to this file, to this website, and you need to download a proper version of the agent. So what I did, I downloaded the wrong OS agent, the wrong Debian file, just because this is for ARM architecture, so for Raspberry Pi, and it will not work. That is okay. So what you need to do, you need to find a proper version, but for the proper architecture. We'll try. This was OS agent Linux R, right? So we'll try this, and instead we will try something like that. Let me check this one. It should download. Sorry, ls, and you should see there is R architecture, so I will remove this one. I will leave only this, and sudo dpkg -i os. Now it should work, it should connect, it should create. Excellent. Went smoothly, very good. This is something crucial. You need to be very careful which package for which architecture you are installing. So what you need to do now, you can test if the installation was successfully by running this. Sudo gdbus introspect system destination IOHAS object path IOHAS OS. So if it will display something like that, you can be sure that everything is correct. This should not return an error. If you get an object introspection with this interface, OS agent is working as expected. Excellent. Now you need to install the Home Assistant Supervised Debian package. But will it work? We'll see. Okay, so first of all, we are going to install it. So we need to download the package. wget, use this address, we download it, and once again sudo -i dpkg -i, and it should be Home Assistant Supervised Deb. It should install it. If you have more control over your system, Home Assistant or Home Assistant Core, it's interesting. Package system journal, systemd journal remote is not installed, and you can see this is the problem. So what you need to do, sudo apt install this package, systemd journal remote. We will see it work. Okay, fix broken install. Let me see. Let's do this. You can see the apt install informed me that I should try apt fix broken install. Sudo apt fix broken install. Here we go. We are going to proceed. Yes, we want to do this. Okay, systemd journal remote. And now you can see Home Assistant is installing, probably, or not. Start Home Assistant Supervised installing. Okay. Once again, we will try to now install it once again. But the previous version already did a job. So you didn't have to do this. After that, this step is not crucial. This step is actually something that you shouldn't do. I just tried to see will it work, but please do not do this. Ignore this one step. Okay, so it tells exactly a reboot is required to apply change to group. Okay, so we are going to sudo reboot once again, and we will wait for this. Right, sudo. Oh, what is going on? Something wrong with this? Session is closed. Reconnect. Try to connect to this machine. Somehow I lost the connection and I don't know why, to be honest. I'm going to check this. It's interesting, since like the IP address changed, I can see this on my router, so edit the host, please. I changed to 1111. I don't know why, probably because of the installation. Okay, let me start over, please. Replace, please. Okay. And here we go. I'm going back now. It's good to know to have some kind of, I don't know, router to which you can connect to, or some network scanner to be able to find out of the IP address of the machine, or have this machine connected directly to your monitor to be able to check with API. So you can see now the Linux is something crucial here, and the knowledge is something very important to be able to quickly solve the problem, to know that okay, the IP address changed, and that's the reason. Okay, so what to do next? The reboot, of course. The best idea is just before you can do that, you can of course mn-tui, use an mn-tui tool. Eventually, I don't know if it works. I would like to, no, not as a standard user, but as a user, sudo mn-tui. Will it work? No. Once again, the password. It should work now. And now you can see, edit the connection, and you can see there are two, supervisor and wired connection. And here we go, edit this, and you can see it's automatically getting the information, but you can change it to manual. I will leave it as it is, because currently I don't need it, but okay, we will see. And here we go, everything is automatic, so I'm not touching it, but what I should do, I should touch the wired connection and change the IP address there, but I will not do this now. And I just presented that it is possible to make it work this way, that we can change the IP address for the wired connection to always have the same IP address to avoid such situation. But sudo reboot now should work, and we need to wait a little bit for a machine. So we can see it's not so easy, it's difficult sometimes to follow something like this, and a very, very easy, very basic thing that the IP address changed just because of that, because what happened, I have a lease time, for example, on my router set for 1 hour only. So the lease just ended, and after that a new IP address was assigned by a DHCP server. Of course, I can set it as static there on this router, right? So on my MikroTik router, so I can do that. I can set the static IP address there just to force the router to remember that this IP address should be always assigned to a machine. But I will not do this. I'm usually doing it when I'm setting up something statically, and you know, maybe not forever, but for a longer period of time. So this is something that I can do. Okay, replace please, and now API, it should display the information. I can see this is my wired connection, this one. This is my ratio, this is a connection from there. from the hasher, from the agent, and from the Docker. So Docker created, there are two subnets, as you can see, 172.30 and .17. See, something like that. So this is it. What next, actually? So after that, when you did the reboot, what you can do, actually, you can change the DNS entry here, right? So why to do that? Because Home Assistant requires it. So what you need to do, you need to edit this file. So sudo vim etc dhcpd.conf, it should work. There we go. It's empty. That is interesting. Okay. Update Debian. No. Sudo apt install locate. I can use find, but sorry, sudo locate. Okay, it should install now. Sudo update db. We will wait, and after that, sudo dhcpd-conf. Okay, sudo locate and dhcpd dhcpcd.conf, this file. Or maybe dhcp just like that. Okay, maybe dhcp star. dhcpd, nothing. Okay, we'll try to use this. That is interesting. I will look for this. Okay, just give me a second. So dhcpd.conf missing in Debian 11. I'm looking for in Google, of course. I can find, or eventually dhcoc. That's interesting. Or eventually dhcpd apt sudo apt install dhcpd. Okay, maybe something like that. cd etc, maybe it was missing. And we will see, do I have a dhcpd? Dbus, default dhcp, dhcp, dh client only. That's interesting. Let me check. Sudo locate. So we can see udhcpd, but there is no dhcpd-conf. Okay, let me think. That is interesting. It's Debian 11, so you know, I'm working currently with a lot of systems, mostly older systems, but it should work there. That's interesting that this is missing. Okay. We'll try something like DHCPD 5. For this. Okay, that is interesting. Unable to locate this package. DHCP 5. Okay, do we want to install this package? Okay. Let me check. I will go back to the, and we have this file. So this package was missing. DHCP CD5. This package was missing. So now, if we will edit this sudo vim dhcpd.conf, and you can see you have the configuration there. And what you need to do, you need to check this. Okay, so you need to edit something like this. And what you are going to do, you need to change the interface name, and it will be 11 and name servers. But I need to check the name of the interface. IPA will should. So this is the name of my interface. So Ctrl+Shift+C, Vim once again, and interface insert, Shift insert, and I have this and P0S25. Okay, right. This is okay. So I did it, and I need to check, do I have a firewall? UFW status? Probably not. So we are going to install the UFW. Sudo apt install UFW. Okay, I'm going to install it. UFW status. This is our firewall. Okay, sudo ctl daemon reload. You see, and sudo UFW status inactive. Sudo UFW enable. Yes, please. And status is active. And now what you need to do, you need to add a port which Home Assistant is using. So sudo UFW allow 8123 TCP protocol. Here we go. And status once again, and you can see the port is added. Eventually you can allow also something like SSH, and it should show you that the port 22 is added. Okay, excellent. So what you need to do, you need to just sudo reboot, and you need to wait a little bit longer, and at the end you should be able to proceed. Okay, we are checking. To reconnect, please. Okay, come on. So I will switch to my camera and I will talk a little bit longer doing this. And okay, so in the meantime, I will prepare my browser. Okay, sorry for that. But I will. This one should work. So you can see my browser here, right? And I should be able to type this IP address here and it should work. Error, connection refused. Why? The question is good. So let me check this. I'm going back to terminal. IPA. We have much more interfaces now. But 10.10.11.24. Sudo UFW status. .8.1.23 is enabled. 8.1.23 is enabled. So, but sudo I will try to disable the firewall for a moment. Okay, and we will check is it working or not. Okay, so now it's working. That's interesting. And I will re-enable the terminal, the firewall. Once again, UFW enable. Once again, yeah, please. And here we go. We are going to check the status, and it's working. And currently, I will try to refresh this website. Okay, so it looks like it's working once again. So we need to wait a little bit longer sometimes to be able to proceed. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Let's move. It's proceeding. You can see the browser. I will switch to the browser now, and you can see it proceeding. The Home Assistant is running. It takes a little bit longer than usual. Do you want to blah blah blah? It's in Polish. Do you want? Are you ready to create your user account and recover your privacy and join to the worldwide community of, I don't know, Home Assistants or something like that? So provide your username. It will be John. Maybe it can be John, and the password, for example. What you can do now. This is a good idea. I already presented it previously, but I will present it once again, one more time. I will go back to the terminal for a moment. Just give me a second. Okay, so LH, for example, we have a bash rc file. So sudo, not even sudo, because it's our bash rc. So just vim bash.bash rc file. Here we go. And it should edit. Okay, and what you need to do is to do something like that. Shift G to go to the end of the file, then hit O to edit once again, and you can add something like password generator function. And I already have this. Genpaddle W, something like that. Local tr xargs. Okay. So now if you will save it, hit escape, then colon, then X, and hit enter, and then use genpass, and once again sudo daemon systemctl, sorry, systemctl daemon reload. Okay, and now try to gin pass w and 16. I hope it will work. Okay, just log out and log in once again to the server and try this gin pass w. What is going on? Gin browser C. Okay. Gin pass w doesn't work like that. Or maybe sudo. We'll try with sudo. Okay, it's not found, so I suppose this command will work for root user. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I will try something like that. I will delete this. I will log out, log in once again. Then I will switch to sudo root, sudo I should work. Okay, and vim bash rc here, and shift G O, something like that. System daemon reload, and Control D, sudo E once again, and gin pass W work, and 16. And you have the password for the user. So you can copy this password. Here we go, from here. You can save it, I don't know, in the next notepad, something like that. And then you are going to switch to the browser. Here we go. And now you can type this password twice. Just copy C, Control V, copy the password, and then create the account. Just like that. And it should install. It can be the home. Yeah, it can be after that. Doesn't matter actually. It's in Polish language because it's recognizing the language of the browser. So it will always display in your language. Share on my that. No, I don't want to. Proceed next. More. If you want to click more. Well, you can click end just like that, and it should load. I don't know, will it work this way? It should actually. This is the Home Assistant. Here we go. Welcome. It should work. Yes, it is working. It's loading the data. So currently you will have the basic installation. Okay, so the Home Assistant is loading. You need to wait a little bit longer. Going back to the terminal. And what next? Next step is something like installing the AdGuard Home in the Raspberry, or here in my case in the desktop in Home Assistant. Actually in Home Assistant as an add-on. So how to make it work? So I'm going back to the browser, and here we go. So notifications. Okay, and go to the settings. I suppose it's in Polish. Yes, it's in Polish language, but I think that I can change this, but I don't know where. To be honest, I usually do not change. Just configure. something like that. No. Edit. That's strange. I just want to change the language, but I think it will be here, maybe in my profile, probably. And yeah, here we can change the language to English. It will be much easier for you, and English, it can be Great Britain. Why not? So you can see something like that. Excellent. Okay, so we are going to settings now, and here we go, add-ons, and what to do next. Actually, what you need to do, you need to web. Sometimes it happens that it doesn't load properly the add-ons. Again, settings, add-ons once again. That is really strange. Okay, I will switch to the browser now, and you can see the add-on store. Okay, head over to add-on store. Okay, here we go. Click this button and it should load. And now we should be able to click this, AdGuard Home. Just click it. And it should open. And after that, you should be able to proceed with the installation of this add-on directly in your Home Assistant. So what you have to do, just click install. Here we go. And you need to wait a little bit longer. In the meantime, I will switch to the terminal and I will explain some few things just to make sure that everything is working as expected. I'm working as root. Sometimes if you will try to run this command, I will go back to the user. Sudo systemctl status system resolved name service. And sometimes you see this, using the graded feature set UDP blah blah blah, right? Something like this. Because I have this already set in the, I have a DNS, I have a AdGuard Home that is working as my DNS under this IP address 10.10.0.100. There is a Raspberry Pi located, and there is, this address is created there. But what next? We will have to configure panel over HTTPS and the DOT server. We can try to do that. This part is very difficult, so you need to be very careful. And you can see it's another instance of AdGuard Home, another installed as an add-on in Home Assistant. This is another instance because we have a different IP address, right? So this one is here, 10.10.0.111. So under this IP address we are working. And okay, so this, and now you can see it's installed, and you have to wait a little bit longer, but you will see the same screen as I see. There will be option start and uninstall. There is also a log file. You can do the refresh if you want to check it. But why it doesn't work here? Because we didn't start it. So what we have to do, we need to click start, and then we go to log, and we can click refresh, and you can see what is going on. It is displaying the information, successfully send discovery information, starting AdGuard Home server, upgrade YAM, and you can see it's listening on the locally 127 port 53. So the AdGuard Home is working. So show in the sidebar. Let's see. Will it work or not? Let's see. I'm clicking here. Basically it should work. Sometimes it displays, I will switch to the terminal. Sometimes it happens that it doesn't load fully. Okay, so we will wait a little bit longer. And what's going on there? What is going on there? It should because of the something that is called. Let me look for this. Okay. First of all, we need to check where's the AdGuard Home listening, right? So here we go. Sudo net command is not found, so sudo what provides net stat, it should work. Okay, but I think this will work. Today we install net tools, this should work. Net tools should install the net start. Okay, we'll try. Okay, so you have the information that AdGuard Home is listening on port 53 and also on port 45,158 and 46,692. And you see the phone address what is established the connection. That is excellent. And try something like that. We are going to check what is listening actually. AdGuard Home is listening, and here you can see it's listening too. So please important information here. Ignore entries with port 53 because it is default DNS port. Usually the Docker container have a similar IP pool, and only this is important when you check the port of the add-on which is running in a Docker container. So if you have this AdGuard Home, you can see 53. This one we can ignore. AdGuard Home here, and you can see the port. This one, right? So what we should do, we should add this port and nginx. That seems interesting. Okay, we will try to make it work this port for nginx because it's using nginx, so we are going to add this to the firewall. So sudo ufw in this case because I'm using allow. You need to allow this port. So we will try to use this for nginx because we are focusing on this subnet, right? This is the IP pool for Docker containers. So allow this port, and this is the TCP IP port, TCP, and it should work. Sudo ufw status should work, and let me check is it working correctly in the browser. So I will reload it once again. Get home, and currently it's working. And I will switch to the terminal because it wasn't working because of that. The port wasn't allowed, so you were not able to use it. You were not able to see it. You can see it's working. The control panel is working here, right? I'll try to load it. When I present it, usually it doesn't work. When I will switch to the terminal and go back to the browser, it's going to work. Excellent. So we have AdGuard Home working in our system. This is the crucial part. This is something you need to be focused on. This is the way it will work without unlocking the proper port number for nginx for this Docker container IP address, IP pool, you will not be able to use this AdGuard Home panel because it will not load. So this is the reason. Mainly most of the users, I think even 100, maybe not, maybe 9900, 99.9%, I mean 100% or 99.9% of users have this problem. They don't understand why this AdGuard Home panel, this dashboard doesn't work, why it doesn't load. Because if you have a firewall, you need to enable this port which nginx is using to listen to, or eventually you can of course disable the firewall. This is something I do not recommend, but if you're not sure, of course you can disable the firewall, then you can stop it for a moment and you will see the dashboard from the AdGuard Home will load. In previews, I will switch to the terminal and will try to explain once again very detailed. There was a problem in Raspberry Pi. There was something like avahi-daemon installed. It was required and by the Home Assistant, right? What was the problem? The problem was that it has had a conflict with resolve. I will try to do this. Sudo system Util status resolver. So maybe this way. Again, I don't remember the name all of these. System resolved. Pardon. I'm not using it very often. Sudo system Util status system resolved.service and avahi-daemon. So if you will use this, like, go back to the sorry, once again queue this, you will see, and if you will use something like that in Raspberry Pi status avahi, it doesn't, I don't have this avahi-daemon service, and you will check it. There is a conflict with those two. So in the newest version, even in July 2022, something like that, I don't remember. I'm not checking every check logs, log checks, and I don't read all those information what changed, and I don't read everything about each new releases of Home Assistant. Anyway, I know that it changed. And the way that the avahi-daemon is no longer required, so actually you can just stop it and disable it just by the way, this way, status, you can check to stop first of all, and then of course if you have this installed, you can disable it, disable. If you need this service for something else, you can always hit start, but disabling it means that it will not start during the boot process, so it will not go into the conflict with this system resolved service. But because I don't have it, there is no issue, there is no conflict between those two services, so you don't have to worry about this. Anyway, this is something that is interesting and you should be very careful about this. Once again, you can check with netstat what is listening, and again you can check always, please use the network troubleshooting tools like ETH tool, like netstat, like SS, like iperf3 or something similar to be able to proceed, to be able to troubleshoot network connections in Linux, because Linux is crucial here. Sometimes without knowledge about this, you will not be able to proceed. Of course, I always present, do this and this, be careful in this step, just because without this you will not be able to run it. So please, you can see this subnet, right? You see this IP, this port, TCP IP port, NGINX. You have NGINX, Apache, Lightspeed, and those three are the most popular. Or instead of Apache, there is in Red Hat family HTTPD. It's a HTTP-daemon. It's a web server, actually. It's a web service that is handling websites and presenting websites in your browser through the internet. So most popular are those three I already mentioned. And Nginx is responsible for this. This is the web server that is displaying the website. So all the traffic goes through, and the dashboard from the AdGuard Home panel is not able to display because the port is not enabled. So the traffic goes there and the firewall says, hello, this port is blocked. It's not open. I will not open it for you, and it will not work. If you will open the port, or if you have a firewall D, so sudo firewall cmd, you can add this, something like add port equals, and it will be this 632384 port, and of course TCP, and of course there will be a zone. It will be public by default usually, and of course permanent. To add permanently the change to the firewall, D in this case, this is the way. And I can always provide an example for IP tables, but I don't think it's necessary. I already did in previous recordings where I presented SSH and how it worked with this, and how to enable and UFW, firewall D, and IP tables for a specific port. So I really recommend it to watch it, to learn it. So what next? If you want to have this working, so what you have to do, I already provided, but I will provide this URL in the description. But this URL, this video, you just need to set up the DNS in your router. So we need to go to your router. You need to find a section in your router where to set up the DNS and set up the IP address of this machine. IP address grep ENPS. Let me see this. I don't know where it's back. IPA, just like that, and I will use this one. ENP0S25. So ENP0S25. I don't know will it display, but yes, this is something. This is it. So you need to know which interface. By default, in the beginning, when you will install the operating system, you will see only those two. The loop back, this one, and in the second is your physical interface. Then you can see Docker has your the rest are virtual network cards, network interface cards. So you don't have to worry about this. You know, the second one usually is your physical Ethernet adapter. So this is the way. IP a pipe grep, name of the interface, and it will display the information. And you can see, of course, this is the easiest way to just be sure that this is the IP address of your machine, because I already set it in DHCP console cat etc dhc VD, this one. So I already defined this IP address here. So that's all actually. And if you will go here to this panel, just give me a moment. Let me check this. Browser should load. Yes, it's loading. And if you will go to the, it's all also in Polish language, so main settings here, and below there, or in the dashboard, if you will scroll down, you have the language here, so you can change it to English. We'll switch it, English language. It should switch. You can see it's in English language. And now go to settings. You can see the DNS settings, but what I recommend, go to set filters DNS block list, and at the block list you can click it, choose from the list, and here we go, you have everything here. So you can select what you wish. I recommend to select all of this. Instead, maybe Iranian. I mean, foreign country, I have that for Poland, so Polish filters for p-hole, but it should work. So I usually do this. I select all of them. Those. I select my country. If you don't have your country, China, Iran, Italy, so try to select the one which is the closest. Or I usually just Vietnam. And Windows Spy Blocker. This is very good. Save it. Wait a little bit longer. Of course, you can add manually, add blocks manually if you want to add a custom list. So if you will add a custom list, we'll try to make it work. The custom, and you can provide a name and URL for this list. There are tons of them, and by the way, I will click this and I will select this also, otherwise default block list. And now it's a good idea to make 100 rows to check is there everything, and then all you have to do is to check updates, and here we go, it should work. It will load all those settings, so you can see one list updated, so it's working. And go to dashboard, and there will be zeros because there is no traffic that is going through this DNS, right? Because I didn't set it up on my router, because I have this panel working under another IP address of so that is why you can see zeros. But if you will set up on your router the IP address of this machine, exactly this Home Assistant machine, you will be able to see the change. So you will see DNS queries and blocked filters. So all the traffic will go through this AdGuard Home, actually, because it's already listening. So that is all. That's all what you need to do, actually, and it should work. If you have a question, be very specific. Please provide information that this is not working. In my case, exactly what is not working. So let me see that you installed the AdGuard, you enabled the port, you can see the AdGuard dashboard. So Home Assistant is actually working, AdGuard Home is working, and you can see with those tools are already provided. With net.ss, I was able to check what is listening. So you can see, and even if you will ss open something like grep, and let me see, add or maybe grep specific port, it can be home, grep Home Assistant, or I don't know really display grep, you can see it on grep, but mostly it's for the protocols, or for the, so you can look for the protocol, grep HTTP, HTTPS, great ports, what is listening on a specific port, because it's working with ports and services. So let me check port, I don't know, this port actually that I already added. So it was 81 something. I will go back to this listen, and by the way, you can grab listen, and here we go. So you can check what is listening, and if you will use this just open, it will show unconnection and unconnected and listening. So you can grab by port like this one for NGNX. So this is the subnet. You can grab through this port, and it should display the information that what is listening on this port. So it's working with the state, it's working with ports, it's working with IP addresses, it's working with services names. So this is, and netstat is of course obvious. So here you can look for grep nginx, for example, it should display, and here you can look for the name of the services. And because I will try to do the same, sudo ss grep, and we'll try. Now it's working. So you can, if you will use sudo, it's always worked with the, also with the service name. So instead of netstat, you can use ss command, and you see it displaying a little bit information. I mean a little bit less maybe, because it's displaying only one column with the local address, foreign address, and here you can see local and peer. Instead of this, it probably because of the, I don't know, without it open. So you can use those flags to displace all the file, grab I don't know, what processes do we have here? So Python, let's see Python, for example, and it should display all the information about the Python and what it's listening to. So this is the crucial step. So you need to understand it. So terminal, you can see this. You can see the reason. Sudo ss toolpan, and you can see the difference between toolpan, ss toolpan, and netstat configuration. So you can look for the AdGuard Home here, right? And if you can look for the name like ss toolpan grep Python. So you can see also netstat grep Python, right? So you can use the name, you can use the port grep, let's say let's say grep nginx, for example, and I want to be sure that which port is using, and we will use this port now. This one, sorry, this. Okay, so we can even use the IP address 127.0.0.1, and it should show what is listening locally. So this way you can use both command netstat and ss also grep 127.0 this way, or the port number like here in this case. Here we go. So netstat is deprecated as ss. ss is something that is currently in use in systems, so you can use this. It displays different information, but I don't know, is it more useful, less useful? For me, netstat is more convenient, I mean more clear, because I exactly see the protocols, right? So here I can see also the protocol, but I see what is listening, and here it's not information, there's no information about this. You have this column, listen, and different on this side, and you know those columns are replaced, and here if you will use something like toolpan, you can see net ID, state, receive queues and queue, local address port and peer address port, right? And processes. And if you will use the same for net start, you can see the description here, and you can make a small comparison. So you see the protocol receive queues and queue. This is replaced columns, local address. So this is here, port. So you have the port here. There is no port, the separate port column. I mean port, because this is the local address, colon, and port this way. But displaying almost the same. For any address, you have this, and the pure address, and you can see it's different a little bit. And you can see less information is here, and NetStat is displaying much more information about it. So more convenient in my opinion, more clear. List and uncon, and here you can see what is established. Same way. So I wish I could have in SS those information that I can see in NetStat, especially those two columns for any address and state, those columns, so which gives me a more clear information. And inode, of course, this is very good. Inode is very important information for system administrator. Seems someone who was probably in SS, but in SS there is some flag, so man SS should display the information, and you have all this information. Probably there is something else here that you can look for. Anyway, we are going to work with AdGuard. So what I already did, and you can see it black and reloads. So don't have to worry. It's sometimes it happens reloading. Each time you click this, it's reloading, and sometimes it's refreshing the statistic, because by default it's set to some, I don't know, 1 minute or 5 minutes. I have to say how often this dashboard is refreshing. I don't know that, something like that. Anyway, this is the way you can do this. Here you have the DNS settings section. I recommend to leave it as it is. And what else? You can use the encryption setting, but to do that, what you have to do actually, I already explained it. You need to generate the key, and you should set up those settings in this encryption. So if you enable this, here you have a certificate file path. So let's see, we have something like, let's imagine the situation that you want to install, because it's very complicated here. To make it work properly, to do this as it should be, and if you want to have it, if you want to use the HTTPS and DNS over HTTPS and DNS over TLS, what you need to do, you need to install settings, add-ons, and you need to install the Cloudflare. I don't know will it work here, because I don't know is it here. But it should be. I can look for this. I think that I will have to record a separate video about this. Just because I thought it will be there. It is not. So what you need to do, you need to do some additional steps to provide a separate URL for the Cloudflare add-on. Then you need to have a Cloudflare account, and then via the Cloudflare add-on here in Home Assistant, you will be able to set up the tunnel. But what you need to do, what you need to have additionally, you need to have a domain. So I will record a separate video where I will explain how to set up a domain, how to connect your domain provider to the Cloudflare, how to exactly set up the domain inside the Cloudflare, then how to install Cloudflare add-on, then how to create a subdomain for this Home Assistant, how to make the tunnel work through this Cloudflare add-on, and after that, how to generate SSL certificate for HomeGuard, for AdGuard Home, for this, and how to properly set up the connection, the HTTPS and DNS over TLS, etc. here in this settings, encryption settings. How to make it work, and without your own domain, without this, using this locally, I doubt it will work. You can try, but this is not something that will work actually. But if you will work your own, even free domain, there is a possibility to have a free domain, or you can buy some cheap one. Through the domain, first of all, you will be able to use the tunnel that is secure. You don't have to open any ports on your router, totally none. So it's inaccessible from outside. Why? I mean, through the tunnel, it is accessible. If you will set up a Cloudflare tunnel, it will be through the domains like example.com, right? Through this URL. But in the Cloudflare, there is an option to allow only specific IP address. So for example, if you have a static public IP set up on your router at your home, only you from this IP will be able to log in. And if you will type this address into the browser on your phone, or even in the Home Assistant application for iOS or Android, there is application for this. If you will type this address, it will ask you for the password because you are old. You are connecting, if you are connecting through the Wi-Fi network from your mobile device at your home through your router, right, through the Wi-Fi, and you get the from the DHCP the local IP address, but it's translated to the static public IP address, and you will set up this static public IP address in the Cloudflare. It will allow you to enter. You can also set, for example, only your country, and only from your country you will be able to log in, and other people from other countries, they will not be able to log into the Home Assistant. Of course, there are additional settings that you can make it work to secure more Home Assistant. There are already information how to make it work, how to secure Home Assistant. And of course, I will sooner or later, I don't know when I will have time, will show it how to secure Home Assistant. But this is crucial step. Without this, or eventually without having own local domain, because it's possible, if you can try to set up your own DNS server, you can propagate locally the domain, you can of course generate self-signed certificates. It's also possible, and probably it will work, but only in the local network, I suppose. And thanks your own domain, you will be able to fully use these settings, and you will be able to fully work with AdGuard Home with enabled encryption. But even without enabled encryption, the AdGuard Home is working in Home Assistant, and it will be filtering the traffic. I mean, the traffic is not encrypted, but currently you have to wait for this. Eventually I can try to look for the information in another places, but I will record a next long video how to make it work, how to correctly set up, and how to finish the configuration. to have fully working AdGuard Home through the DNS over HTTPS, DNS over TLS, and how to enable HTTPS for this. And thanks this, you will be able to do this, because without this, I think that it's not to the end fully functional. I mean, I like when the traffic is encrypted, when everything is working. What is funny, if you set up AdGuard Home totally separately outside the Home Assistant, you have to create a separate login to be able to log into AdGuard Home. But here, because it's an add-on, it is using your AdGuard Home login and password, and that is all. That's all what is needed actually. So if you will go there to this, you can see the login, and here John, you're currently logged up John, and you can also set the theme, blah 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 blah, vibrate, keyboard shortcuts. You can change the multi-factor authentication. I really recommend to enable it and use something like Authy or Google Password Authenticator or something like that, or Microsoft Authenticator to enable two-factor authentications. This is very, very crucial, because if you will set up the tunnel through the Cloudflare, and you will open the Home Assistant through this tunnel to the world, of course it's difficult to guess what domain you are using, right? It's difficult, but you know, there are bots that are scanning newly added domains, and sooner or later they will find out, okay, this is a strange subdomain, okay, let's check it through, go to the scan and put all the possible URLs, I mean, like the subdomain / and let's example login.html, login.php, etc, etc, etc. It will be trying all the time to get into your configuration. So securing it with two-factor authentication is the first step to secure Home Assistant, and without this, it's difficult to say when, but it may happen that someone will break into the Home Assistant. This is of course only a very basic security, because there are some options that and some packages that can be installed on a server, and thanks to this you can secure more the server. However, I really recommend it. And if you will log out from here with this, a lot of users are looking for this, and this is the problem. In new Home Assistant, there is no logout button here over here. So you have to go to you have to click the username and log out. And if you want to log out, and log out please. And now it will log out. And that is all. So let me check. It should. And now you can provide the name once again and the password for the user. It should work actually. Right. Let me check this once again. Login, please. It will log in. So that is all actually. Guess it's working. Here we go. It should load the dashboard. And of course, if you want to set up your dashboard, you can do something like this. Edit the dashboard, and you can take the control, and you can add the card, and you can add what you actually want here. So the configuration of Home Assistant is something that is described in the internet widely, so you can look for how to make it work with devices. There is a ton of configuration, ton of solutions, how to make it work with temperature, humidity control, etc, etc. There's really a lot of devices that are cooperating with Home Assistant, and I think that this is a good idea to look for this on your own, right? Because if you will not learn, look for the information on your own, if you will not use the English language in the search engine, you will not be able to set it on your own. This is a tool that you should be able to set up on your own. This is something that you should not show present in the internet, on the Facebook, anywhere, just because of thieves. If thieves know that you left your home and you went on a holiday, they will break in your house. If they know your configuration from the screenshot and they know that you have Home Assistant connected with your alarm, they will be able to easily to get it off, just like that. If you will not secure properly everything, the hardware installation, the software configuration, the server configuration, they will find out how to make it work and how to disable it, how to get into your home and how to rob it. Just like that. That is why, if you have it, don't tell anyone. My Home Assistant I didn't connect it, I just only connected it with the UPS and some weather and some really with AdGuard panel. Oh, it's a good idea. You can add the AdGuard panel here, probably it will be there. So if you added the card, let me see that. I want to check the, you have the entity button current, but entities maybe. And let me check, you have the something like that, for example, and you can add Home Assistant core update. If you want to have a status, let's say for example, and done, and you can see this is a very basic information, and you can see on your dashboard screen which add-ons are up to date, and you can easily even click it. So it will display the information, and there will be an option to upgrade it. The install button will be highlighted, so you will be able easily to update it directly from the dashboard. I know that this is a very long video. I know you are tired. I hope I explained everything easily in very detailed way, so you will be able to proceed. And thanks this, I hope you will be able to properly configure Home Assistant and AdGuard Home inside the Home Assistant dashboard. And if you will have any questions, please be very specific. Do not hesitate to ask me. I will try to help you. I will try to explain. I can record another video and focus on a very specific topic if you wish. It's not a problem. It's not a big deal for me. And that's all actually. Please wait for the next video about properly setting up the domain Cloudflare tunnel and finish the configuration of the AdGuard Home with this HTTPS and DNS over TLS, etc, etc. So because this way we will achieve our goal, and then after that I will be able to explain more about the configuration inside the Home Assistant, and I will focus on additional things inside Home Assistant, and I hope you will enjoy this. So thank you very much. Have a nice day or night. Take care. Bye bye.